Hello, party guests. Today I am going to make our brand new sourdough bread mix that Pampered Chef released this season. I find bread making intimidating. I know some people think it's super easy. Making banana bread and things like that and sweetbreads are super easy to me, but like when bread has to rise and you have to have the right temperatures of things, that's when it gets intimidating to me. But I am going to make a video over the course of today because it is going to take several hours for the bread to rise and all of those type of things. But I'm going to piece it together, and I promise that I'm going to show you the entire video and the results no matter how it turns out. So I am going to do this in our new deluxe stand mixer, which is a host exclusive at this time. So if you're interested in our mixer, the only way you can get it is by hosting a party or by being a consultant. So I'm going to use our bag slicer again. Oh, let me go the right way. To open our sourdough bread mix. And I have our mixer here and I have our shield. And so I'm going to pour this in. Okay. And the thing that makes me nervous is I do not own a food thermometer. That is probably something that I should get. But it specifically says warm water, 105 to 115 degrees. So the water feels warm to me. We'll just go from here and see. So I've got 1 cup of water here in my measure-all cup. And again, this cup here is the one that you can do liquid ingredients in the one side, and you can do an adjustable measuring cup on the other for your dry goods or solids. So I'm going to bring you over here to the mixer. And so it's got different settings, custom whipped cream, all kind of things, but it says mix on the package. So I'm going to mix, and mix takes 2 minutes and 30 seconds. So I'm going to get this started. Right, get it started. Now push it twice. Okay. So that is going to mix for 2.5 minutes, and I will pop back on and show you what it looks like at that point. Okay, I am back. We've got just a few more seconds here on the mixing. All right, so I'm going to lift this up. Let's get this here out of here. Oh, how did I get that off? Okay. And so now the instructions just say cover and let rise for 2 hours. It didn't tell me that I needed to do anything else to the dough, so I am going to do just that. I'm going to cover it with some plastic wrap. I'm going to set a timer for 2 hours. And then I will come back and do the next step. And it might be backwards to you, but I wore my trophy wife t-shirt today. Whoa! I wore my trophy wife t-shirt today because I like to pretend I'm a housewife, a trophy wife sometimes, and I'm always optimistic that my husband will let me know that today is the day. But I will be back in 2 hours to do the next step. Okay, friends, it has been 2 hours, and as you can tell, my hair is not soaking wet anymore. But for 5 points for watching this video, just let me know how you spent your Saturday. So I know the majority of you guys have not been hanging out on Facebook waiting to see when I'm going to make yet another post. So let me know what you did on your Saturday, okay? So this has been rising for 2 hours. I'm going to bring you on over here to the mixer. Which, again, I am not so great at bread. I don't know if that has risen enough. I don't really have a lot of life experience to compare that to. But the next step is to knead it for 30 seconds. So I'm going to switch to our kneading hook. Let's see. And then put that down. Okay. And so I have my controls here right now. It's on custom. And I don't know if you can see, but do you see the little screwdriver looking tool? Because I chose the knead setting. So when I was on the mix setting, it had more of the spade. But now for knead, it is doing the dough hook. And for the time, I only need 30 seconds. So how do I change that? Oh, no, yeah. Let's go down to 30 seconds. It just says knead for 30 seconds. Granted, it's typically telling me in the recipe to do that like by hand, but I guess I could have just stopped it after 30 seconds instead of being complicated, but this thing is still new to me. So being a Pampered Chef consultant, it will only let me go down to 4. Okay, we're just going to watch it and stop it at 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But being a Pampered Chef consultant, I got this mixer for completely free for the sales that I made this past fall. So the only way to get the mixer at this time is by either being a host of a party or by being a consultant. So I'm gonna let this go for 30 seconds. We're at about a little past 15 here. And while that, well, no, I don't want to miss it. So we're just, again, I've never done this before. I don't want to mess this up. Okay, so that was my 30 seconds. And so I am going to make this bread on my rectangle stone, which if you are not familiar with stoneware, our stoneware builds up its own nonstick glaze over time. So the browner it looks, the better it cooks. So no, it doesn't look super pretty. But I'm going to dust my stone. All right. And I don't know, you guys. It's like all stuck to the dough hook. I don't know how that all works. I'm just going to see if I can't get my hook off of here. It's backwards to me right now. Come on. How do I? Oh, there we go. Okay. Jeez, oh Pete. Okay. Let's just scrape it off with a wooden spoon. How does that sound? Okay. So, I'm going to transfer this bread over to the stone. I've never made sourdough bread in my life, you guys. Hopefully this is going to turn out. Okie dokie. So I've got my sourdough bread on the stone, and it is telling me next step is to cover it and let it rest for an hour and then preheat my oven to 450. So I'm just going to cover it with my Pampered Chef bowl. Hopefully that does the trick. And I'll be back in an hour. Let's see if we end up with bread. Okay, so I am back on our sourdough adventure. And so this has been rising covered for an hour. Let's see what it looks like. Not sure that's what it's supposed to look like, but we will continue on. So the instructions say to make a few shallow cuts on the top of the dough with a sharp knife. This knife might be overkill, but that's what we're going to do. And you know, it's a little sticky. I don't know what they mean by shallow cuts. Anywho, we are going to bake this in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes at 450. 450 sounds like a very high temperature to me compared to 350 for banana bread. But again, I'm just going to follow the instructions. So I'm going to set a timer for 22 minutes and 30 seconds to just kind of split the difference here. And I will show you how my sourdough turns out in just a minute. Okay, you guys, the moment of truth. I'm going to take the sourdough out of the oven. Let's see if I can get a... You guys can't even see what I've got my oven mitts. I just always have a hard time grabbing the flat stone out. Okay, here we go. So, it says it has to rest for half an hour before I slice it. I mean, it looks like bread, and I didn't set off any smoke alarms or burn my house down. So I'm going to call it a win. So again, Pampered Chef has a lot of different mixes. Sourdough bread is our newest one. I like the garlic and herb bread, but I also really like some of the easier mixes like the dulce de leche that I'm giving away. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me on my bread adventure.